Good morning, and I hope you're ready to start your e-learning day for this Halloween, October 31st. The first thing you need to do is go to my Canvas site, just like in class. I already went through the instructions for this in class on Thursday, so hopefully a lot of this seems familiar. This is just to walk you through it and to provide some additional resources for those of you students who don't have internet access at home. First thing you need to do is click on this week's agenda. And I'd like you to scroll down to Friday. As we're going through this video, at any point you need to hear the instructions again, feel free to rewind the video a little bit and pause it when there's sections that you need to wait for maybe your browser to load or a document to download. Don't feel like you have to play this video all the way through. Take advantage of the pause button. Alright, so today our learning objectives are I can analyze current issues in Africa, and I can draw evidence from informational text to support reflective writing. You had talked about when we did our KWL chart, so a lot of people were interested in learning more about the Ebola virus and where the Ebola virus came from. A lot of you already knowing that the Ebola virus had its start in West Africa, which fits in perfectly with our geography unit. So go ahead and click on the e-learning activity link. If you do not have internet at home, you're watching this video because you already downloaded it in a file folder in Thursday's class. But here are the instructions for working through your e-learning activity. You need to download the Understanding Ebola document. This is where all the activities will be right here in this document. And then be sure to, when you're finished, turn it into Canvas by submitting it like we have all our assignments this year. If you don't have internet connection, feel free to wait to turn it in until Monday. Alright, so go ahead and let's download the document. We'll enable editing. Make sure to fill in your name and your period. The first thing I have for you is a quick video from YouTube about what you need to know about the Ebola virus.
It's time we talked about Ebola. It's been in the news a lot, and for good reason. It's one of the deadliest diseases humanity faces, the second deadliest, technically, and it's making a stand in West Africa. Plus, for the first time, 2 U.S. citizens with the disease have been flown home for treatment. But don't bar the doors and windows or get yourself whirled up into some kind of 2006 bird flu hysteria, because we've met Ebola before, and we're learning more about it than ever. It used to be known as Ebola hemorrhagic fever, more recently Ebola virus disease. But what the media have lately been referring to simply, and sometimes hysterically, as Ebola is really one of at least 5 known species of the Ebola virus. What they're referring to is the most dangerous species, known as Zaire Ebola virus, or ZEBOV, named after the Central African country where it was first discovered in 1976, along the banks of the Ebola River. It's in the news because it has infected more people this year than it has any other year since that first outbreak. So far in 2014, it's infected 1,323 people, 729 of whom have died. And the virus has moved into some of West Africa's major population centers, including countries like Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and possibly the Nigerian capital of Lagos. So, it's newsworthy for sure, and for plenty of reasons. According to the World Health Organization, ZEBOV has an average fatality rate of 83%, but in some outbreaks it has killed more than 90% of the people it infected. Ebola is a type of hemorrhagic fever, which means one of its most prominent symptoms is heavy bleeding, either internally or externally. But blood loss isn't what kills its hosts. After causing flu-like symptoms like vomiting and diarrhea, ZEBOV targets the entire circulatory system, causing blood vessels to fail, blood pressure to drop, and eventually all of the major organs to shut down. But let's check our heads for a minute. For one thing, Ebola is definitely contagious, but it's not as easily transmitted as, like, the flu. It's not an airborne disease. It's only contagious by infected people who are exhibiting symptoms at the time, and even then it can only pass through close contact with bodily fluids. That's why most of the people who are getting infected are healthcare workers working in pretty austere conditions, or family members of patients who treat their loved ones at home and prepare their bodies for burial. But being on the same airplane or in the same hospital ward as an Ebola patient doesn't mean you've automatically been exposed to the virus. And in another little glimmer of hope, it turns out that some people have developed a natural immunity to Ebola. A study in 2010 found that more than 15% of people in the West African country of Gabon carry antibodies for the Zika virus, even though there's no record of an Ebola outbreak there. Researchers think that those people were exposed to the virus over decades, probably through fruit that had been contaminated by bats, which are the original carriers of the disease. But instead of getting sick, these people just developed natural defenses. We're not sure why, but as you might imagine, there's a lot of scientific interest in the people of Gabon right now. And of course, there's no vaccine for Ebola, but many prototypes are being developed. You may remember news we shared last year about a breakthrough in this effort. Biologists in Boston found that cells treated with a kind of compound called indolene alkaloids blocked the ability of the Ebola virus to replicate itself. These alkaloids are the same class of chemicals that give many plants their medicinal properties. Trouble is, scientists haven't figured out why they work or how to turn them into an effective Ebola treatment. But even beyond the short-term risks of the current outbreak, it's worth looking at the bigger picture. The figures coming out of West Africa, while scary and tragic, pale in comparison to other public health crises in the region. Last week, I mentioned that the incidence of HIV in sub-Saharan Africa is still over 12% in some countries, and more than 1.2 million people die from AIDS there every year. Meanwhile, over 600,000 deaths occur every year due to malaria. The more attention that all of these public health crises get, the better. So maybe the best outcome of this current scare might not be the better treatment of Ebola, but also more money, science, and brainpower being devoted to conquering even bigger threats in West Africa and other parts of the world. Thanks for watching SciShow News. If you want to keep getting your science straight with us, just go to youtube.com/SciShow and subscribe.
So that's just an introductory video to get you thinking about the Ebola virus. What I want you to do now is the meat of the assignment. So what you're going to do, students will look at the Ebola virus and its effect on portions of Africa to better understand the differences between developed and developing countries. Ebola is a virus that has been all over the news over the last couple weeks and months. You're going to read a news article about the outbreak and then answer a reflection question about the disease and its threat to the United States. So go ahead and go to the article, Making Sense of Ebola. If you do not have internet at home and you're wanting to open that, it should be on the file folder that you put on your desktop as a PDF. And you should be able to open that without internet access and read the same article. All right, so let's go ahead and open that up. This is a news article entitled Making Sense of the Ebola Virus. What I want you to do is read through this article. It's pretty short, only I think 8 or 9 paragraphs long, and they're pretty short paragraphs, only a few sentences in each paragraph. As you're reading through them, if you notice there are words that are highlighted in blue. These are words that the article highlighted as vocabulary words. If you're not sure what those words mean, you can go ahead and click on them, and the word will pop up. As you're reading through this, make sure that you pay attention to the maps and the charts that are added there in the article, as those add a lot of valuable information, and they're added at certain spots in the article to kind of reinforce what the article was talking about in the previous section. Okay, so at this time, pause the video, and I want you to read the article. Alright, so you just finished the article. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you understood it. If you had questions about what the article was saying or any of the content in the article, feel free to email me and ask your questions. I'll get back to them as quickly as I can. Now that you've finished reading the article, go back to the Word document, and on the second page of the Word document is a reflection question. The question asks, as a person living in the United States, are you concerned with the Ebola threat? Be sure to support your answer with evidence from the news article. You should be referring to the Show Your Evidence poster that we've discussed in class, and your answer should be organized in a 7 to 10 sentence paragraph. As you're answering this question, the big key to this, as one of our learning objectives for today was using informational text to support your answer. We've looked at this poster before, the Show the Evidence poster. There are some sentence starters here to help you get the ball rolling. You should only be including evidence and supporting your writing with information from the news article itself. You shouldn't be drawing on stuff that you already know about Ebola. You should be drawing on what you learned from the news article itself. These are all sentence starters that you could be reading, or that you could be using to write your reflective question. All right? If you have questions or concerns about the assignment as you're working, remember that on the front page of my Canvas site is my email as well as my Twitter account. Feel free to shoot me an email and ask your questions, and I will respond to them very quickly throughout the day on Friday and throughout the weekend. Please do not hesitate to ask questions. Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. As soon as you have the file finished, make sure that you save it and go ahead and turn it in on Canvas. I hope you enjoy learning about Ebola. It seemed like everyone was interested in finding out more about this virus that has been in the news. And like I said, contact me with questions that you have. All right, have a good e-learning day.